Hey everyone. Welcome to the 21st episode of our Java game development tutorial series. Today's episode, I think we're going to go ahead and start making a simple bad guy. So let's get started. If you remember, we have a mob class, which we'll probably be doing more with this later on, but for now, until we do, we're going to go ahead and create a new class. I'm going to call this, let's just call it bad guy. Okay, we've got our bad guy class, and it's going to extends mob, and as you remember, mob already extends sprite and everything, so, what the heck was that? Add constructor. There we go. Not sure what that was all about. Okay, so anyway, you see we've got our constructor, just like all of our sprite objects need to have. Go ahead and override update, public void update, float delta time, and that delta time will, of course, tell us how long it's been since the last frame. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. We kind of want it to act kind of like the player, in that we want it to, fall with gravity, that sort of thing. So, in fact, and now, listen, that's not a good. I'm going to copy some things over here. I'm going to copy all three of these variables from player, the velocity, y, gravity, and jump height. I'm going to paste them into the bad guy class. I'm going to go to the player again. Let's see. I'm going to copy the move x thing into the update method. I'm going to copy the whole velocity thing. And I'm going to get this whole if does collide pose x, pose y plus 1, to tell if we're touching the ground. I'm going to copy all of that and put it in the bad guy thing, but I'm going to get rid of what's in the center right here for now. This will tell us whether he's touching the ground, and which will determine whether he can do certain things, like whether he can jump, and that sort of thing. Let's get this whole collision block that we made. We'll put that in too. As you can see, a lot of it's going to be similar to what we did with the player. In retrospect, maybe we should have put this in the mob class, because it all seems to apply. Perhaps we'll do that later on. It shouldn't be too difficult to switch it over. Also in the player, I'm going to go ahead and get the pose X and everything right there. Copy that into pose X, pose Y, the actually affect our movement. And then we're going to have to copy this does collide method. Actually, for right now, what we can do is this. We'll take the does collide, copy it, and delete it from the player class. And then we can put it in the mob class. In fact, it actually makes more sense to put it in the sprite class. So we'll just go ahead and put it in the sprite class, and it will be accessible, should be accessible. This should be not private, but protected. Protected means, like I said before, I might have mentioned before, public is accessible to all classes, including classes that are not this class. Private is accessible only to this class, and other instances of this class. Protected is accessible, or maybe it wasn't other instances, I'm not sure. But protected is accessible to this class and other classes that extend that class. Like player, it extends mob. Mob extends sprite. Sprite contains a protected method. So it's protected from other things, but it is accessible to things that extend this. Mob is, and therefore bad guy and player are, distant descendants of the sprite class. And that's object-oriented programming at its finest. Okay, so what we want to do is, right here we need to decide how it's going to move. let's say, what's the best way to determine how the bad guys should move? Maybe we should just, like have them walk back and forth a certain distance, or something like that, and then position them in their, the right position for, or maybe we could have them walk back and forth on a platform, and, wait till they reach the edge of the platform, or something like that. We'd have to figure out how they can determine when they've reached the edge of the platform, though. The only thing I can think of is maybe this. I'll say, private int direction equals 0. I'm going to say right here 0 equals right. No, actually, no, 0 equals... No, actually, it makes a lot more sense to do this. 1 equals right, negative 1 equals left. That's just help us keep track of this. So we'll say that move x plus equals direction times, what did we call it, run speed? Yeah, run speed. Where was our player? Yep. Direction times run speed. So if we're facing to the right, this will be a positive number because we're multiplying by 1, and if we're moving the other way, it's a negative number because it's multiplied. Because it's multiplied by negative 1. But it will be the magnitude of run speed either way. Now we need to determine whether he's reached the edge of a platform or not. Let's say that if he does collide, if he is colliding on the x-axis, then trying to figure out the best way to do this. If he is colliding on the x-axis because of the way we're moving, then we want to say that move x, we want him to stop moving, but we should probably actually have him turn around. So instead of just move x minus equals move x, we also want to say direction equals negative direction, which will invert the direction that he's moving. So if he collides with something, he'll start going back the other way. For right now, I'm going to override the render method too. Public void render graphics G. I think it was graphics G. Yeah. And I'm just going to say g.setColor color.red and g.fillRect. Int, I hate doing this part, the int that is pose x minus width divided by 2, the int that is pose y minus height divided by 2, the int that is width, and the int that is height. Right. And then in the constructor, I'm going to go ahead and set his width and height. Let's say his width is 10. Width equals 10. Height equals 15. How about that? So let's see what happens if we were to go ahead and, in our game class, we're going to add one of those. World.currentWorld.addSprite. New bad guy. Let's see if our player is at 100, let's see, 100, let's say 300, 100. I think that's correct. Add sprite, not add sprites. There we go. Let's see what happens. I have no idea what just happened. Oh, we've got to since we're not using our sprite thing, which takes the camera's position into account, I'm gonna grab this real quick before we're gonna go into the bad guy class again. We need to be using the minus width divided by 2, minus height divided by 2. Need to be using the real camera adjusted positions, because otherwise we are not actually we're not actually, you know, showing our accurate position on the screen because our camera is in the wrong position. Okay, he's too far to that side, so I'm going to move him over maybe 100 pixels to the left. Ignore this. This has nothing to do with the game we were just now working on. Okay, here we go. Look, there he is. And he walks off a ledge, as you might expect. We don't have him testing to see if he can collide with, or if see if he's about to run into a ledge. I have one way that we might be able to do that. We might say, just say edge check right here. If does collide, if pose x plus width, so if he's one of his widths forward, and pose y plus 1, so downwards 1, as though he'd move forward 1 unit and then was about to, would this count as falling off a ledge? Let's see. This should be pose x plus width times direction. We don't need parentheses there. Width times direction, so that we'll be checking in the right direction. Left if he's moving left, and right if he's moving right. Then direction equals negative direction. If that works, I'll be surprised because I've never done this before. I've never... no. No, it doesn't. Oh, sorry, this should be if it doesn't collide. That would be if there was nothing there. If there is no ground in that direction. Does it work? I can't believe it! That's awesome! I honestly can't believe that worked. Look at that. He goes to the edge and he turns. I'm very surprised actually that worked, because I've literally never done platform bad guys, walking back and forth Mario style, walk to one side, stop when they reach an edge, and then go to the other side again. I've never done that before. But to explain it, in case you don't understand what this does, which you probably do, it's pretty simple. It just basically says check to see if we had been, if we were, in one certain position, if we imagine ourselves one of our widths forwards, so if we'd moved, over, like there were two of us adjacent to each other, moved over in the direction we're moving, and then went down slightly, is there anything underneath us? If there isn't, then we've reached the edge. As you can see, as soon as his left edge reaches this edge, he turns around, because his left edge, and now if his right edge, as soon as his right edge reaches the edge of the platform, he turns around, because at that point, if he had moved over one of his widths in that direction, he would be falling, and it can tell that. So I really can't believe that worked. That's kind of cool. But to keep the episode short, I noticed one of the last episodes was like 15 minutes long. I'm going to have to cut it right here. But we'll work on the bad guy some more in the next episode. If you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.